This upcoming clash between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul feels almost surreal. Mike Tyson has spent an incredible amount of time as a famous figure, and his story is defined by so many of life's major themes that it is beyond Shakespearean in nature. Adversity, triumph, tragedy, betrayal, and ultimately a type of redemption were all at various points prominent in a long public life of Mike Tyson. By contrast, there's something immediate and superficial about the arrival of Jake Paul. The idea that he doesn't even deserve to share the ring with Mike Tyson is undeniably true, at least in my book. But it's actually this juxtaposition of these two figures and the difference in what they represent in terms of depth and significance that makes it tough not to invest in the outcome of this fight. I mean, we could be about to see something that is just so depressing and terrible, or we could see a conclusion that is so gratifying and hilarious that even the biggest critics of the whole spectacle can't resist celebrating. That's what's on the table here. I want to begin by first fleshing out some of those themes I mentioned that comprise the life of Mike Tyson, beginning, of course, with adversity. Mike Tyson faced many challenges as a kid. His father abandoned the family when Mike was just 2 years old, leaving his mother to raise 3 children. The harsh realities of the deeply dysfunctional, crime-ridden Brownsville had a profound impact on young Tyson.
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. At one time it looked nice. And then I realized that we had to move. And then the more we moved, the darker it got. The less white people we saw. You know, I started in Bedford-Stuyvesant, and it was not a bad neighborhood at that time. White people lived in the neighborhood and all that stuff. And then something happened, I guess, hard times or something, and we had to go. And we went from Bedford-Stuyvesant, we went to Brownsville. And Brownsville was just, it was just, whoa, real aggressive and black. But whatever could be done to a human being is being done. Anything that could be done to a human being down there, it's being done. I saw guys on the corner, just like everybody. I saw them on the corner, and I realized on the corner, nobody fucked with those guys. You know, so I wanted to be a street guy. I don't know why, because I was always getting beat up and bullied, and people were taking stuff from me. Yeah, so I grew up, I didn't feel safe at home. My mother, like I was saying, my mother, very promiscuous. My father's a pimp, gangster. My father is a motherfucker. Fuck.
By the age of 13, Tyson had been arrested 38 times. His crimes ranged from petty theft to more serious offenses.
Everybody would bring other kids from different neighborhoods around to fight me for money. And then I got locked up, became a criminal. I'm knocking people out, taking their money. Listen, I'm fighting men. I'm 12 years old. I'm 11 years old. I'm fighting men. I'm fucking up men, 20 years old. I become the knockout guy. I'm knocking out guys, and we're going in their pockets. And so my whole life has been violent, and I'm not a violent person.
Tyson's behavior was so problematic that he was eventually sent to a juvenile detention center in upstate New York. It was here that his life took a dramatic turn. Bobby Stewart, a juvenile detention center counselor and former boxer, recognized Tyson's potential in the ring.
They shipped me off to another place. And in this place is a gentleman named Irish Bobby Stewart. He's an ex-professional fighter. So he started teaching me how to box, kicking my ass, but then he started teaching me. He just wanted to let you know, listen, I'm the man. You know, I had a reputation in the institution system. So he had to check me, right?
Stewart introduced the young Tyson to legendary boxing manager and trainer Cus D'Amato, a decision that would not only alter the course of Tyson's life, but alter the course of boxing history.
And it's like a father and son relationship. You know, even though he is my manager and trainer, sometimes I forget that because of the way we are. The first day he met me, he took me in his house, he didn't even know me.
D'Amato saw immense potential in Tyson and took him under his wing. He became Tyson's legal guardian after the death of Tyson's mother when Mike was 16. Cus provided not just boxing training, but also a stable home. He was a father figure, a mentor, and a guiding force in Tyson's life.
And then one day he used to just say, listen, you have the chance to change your life, your family's life. You could be something very special. You could be champion of the world. And I didn't pay no attention to it. He said, really? You could be champion of the world. You could devastate the world. I said, you really? I said, this guy's really crazy. That's what I realized, this guy's crazy. He said, you do what I tell you to do, and if it doesn't work, then you could leave. So I said, okay, bet. So I did everything he told me to do, and I won. I won every championship. From the amateur championship, I won all the championships. I'm gonna cry. I won every championship that he told me, because he told me what to do.
If he weren't here, I probably wouldn't be alive today. The fact that he is here and doing what he's doing, and doing as well as he's doing, and improving as he has, gives me the motivation and interest to stay alive. Because I believe that a person dies when they no longer wants to live.
Under the guidance of D'Amato, Tyson's raw talent was honed into a ferocious boxing skill set. D'Amato taught Tyson his famous peekaboo style of boxing, with a high guard and rapid, elusive head movement. This style, combined with Tyson's natural power and aggression, would become his trademark.
Keep the head down when you come up with the H. Keep your head down. You can make it perfect. It's good, but it's not perfect.
Tyson had a solid amateur career, winning gold medals at the 81 and 82 Junior Olympics. He turned professional in 85, at the age of 18, knocking out Hector Mercedes in the first round. And what followed was one of the most dominant runs in boxing history. In just over a year and a half, Tyson fought 28 times, winning all bouts, 26 by knockout. And the streak culminated with him winning the WBC Heavyweight Championship, defeating Trevor Berbick. At just 20 years and 4 months old, Tyson was the youngest heavyweight champion in history. Cus famously predicted that Tyson would be the youngest heavyweight champion ever. Unfortunately, D'Amato passed away a little too soon to see his prophecy come true. But the combination of Tyson's natural athleticism, D'Amato's guidance, and his ferocious style in the ring created a boxing phenomenon that completely took the world by storm. He was a boxing force of nature. His presence in the ring often defeated opponents before the first punch was thrown. He not only dominated the sport, but also became a cultural phenomenon that transcended boxing. In the 1980s, boxing was experiencing a lull in popularity following the retirement of Muhammad Ali. Tyson's emergence as a ferocious, unstoppable force in the ring reignited public interest in the sport. His quick, devastating knockouts and menacing presence were simply must-see TV. But Cus D'Amato's passing left a significant void in Tyson's life. The bond with D'Amato had such an impact on Tyson that he still struggles to reflect on it without becoming deeply emotional. It's always very moving to hear Tyson reflect on this subject.
You get emotional when you talk about Cus. But you've said Cus didn't like it when you showed emotion.
Oh yeah, like.
Why didn't he want you to show emotion? Did he equate it with weakness?
I don't know what he did.
You okay?
Yeah, how could I ever do an interview about him when I start crying? I didn't know I was the one.
Well, you were a specimen.
It takes more than that to be a fighter. I didn't know what discipline was, so he explained to that. Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
Do you think, Mike, that if he had lived, that your life would have been different?
Oh, yeah.
Do you miss him to this day?
Without this steadying influence, Tyson struggled to maintain the focus and discipline that had characterized his early career. And this marked the beginning of Tyson's chaotic journey from the pinnacle of boxing to a series of personal and professional catastrophes. The introduction of highly controversial and widely despised boxing promoter Don King into Tyson's life is often cited as a terrible turning point.
Then I got caught up with this other piece of shit, Don King, who's just a wretched, slimy, reptilian motherfucker. He would kill his mother for $1.
The greatest country in the world, man. This is America, baby.
I ain't doing you scumbag. You.
His life took a further dramatic turn when the Desiree Washington case went to trial. Despite maintaining his innocence, he was convicted in '92 and sentenced to 6 years in prison, ultimately serving 3. This conviction halted his boxing career and, of course, severely damaged his public image.
And 2 years to within the hour of his only professional loss in the ring to Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson was found guilty of the 3 charges against him.
Oh, this is just a lying, reptilian, monstrous young lady. I just hate her guts, and
As the case headed for trial, attorney Vincent Fuller had a lot to deal with. Tyson's promoter, Don King, hired Fuller. But why him? Fuller was a high-priced attorney from a white shoe Washington law firm, not a street crime specialist.
It's easier to live in prison than it is outside. Everybody knows you, talks you, nobody talks shit to you, everybody knows you, they got your back if somebody fucking with you. They want drugs, they got drugs for you, you got girls, they hook you up with their sister's girlfriend or their sister's sister. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, when I did that 3 years, I didn't wanna leave, cause I was hitting my teacher. I had a lady teacher there, she's been there for 15 years now, and that was my lover. You know, I got caught up and I didn't wanna leave for a second.
But upon his release, tensions quickly arose. Don King had been using every sneaky, slippery trick in a book to siphon off a very significant portion of Tyson's earnings. King had employed various unscrupulous tactics to maximize his own profits at Tyson's expense. These included things like inflating fees for his services, manipulating contracts, and allegedly underreporting fight revenues. Despite earning hundreds of millions of dollars in the ring, Tyson found himself in financial trouble, and this culminated in a $100 million lawsuit against King that was eventually settled out of court for $14 million. Now that sounds like a lot of money, but not when you spend like Mike Tyson, and it was only a tiny fraction of what he'd earned in the ring.
$600 million you made in your career, they're saying. What happened? That's so much money. Mike, that's a lot of fucking money, Mike. I
had a lot of fucking fun.
The bitter split of Tyson and King marked the end of a partnership that had reshaped boxing and left Tyson feeling utterly betrayed and financially decimated. It was another tragic chapter in Tyson's career. In his comeback to boxing, he was noticeably diminished. He appeared massive, but sluggish and less agile. Despite his decline, he was still Mike Tyson, and he continued to be a major draw for several years. Tyson's post-prison career was mainly marked by disappointment and controversy, including the famous incident where he took a bite out of Holyfield. That event destroyed his reputation even further, if that was possible. He was viewed as a disgrace to the sport. The perception of Mike during this era was as an uncivilized, out-of-control savage, an irredeemable brute. Since D'Amato's passing, his life had spiraled into crisis. His imprisonment, his financial troubles, and now this sporting disgrace all contributed to a dramatic fall from grace for the once invincible, almost superhuman Mike Tyson. But these experiences also set the stage for Tyson's later attempts at personal redemption. His re-entry into pop culture was kind of unexpected. It feels like it kind of kicked off with his appearance in the Hangover movies, which allowed audiences to see a lighter, more accessible side to Tyson. And of course, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, part of Tyson's re-emergence, the format that really allowed people to know the man that Tyson has become, was his podcast. And this platform allowed him to showcase a different side of his personality, a thoughtful, introspective, and often very funny side to the guy. He often delves into deep topics, drawing from his own life experiences.
But when I see you, I don't see that. I see somebody when I'm 12 years old. I saw you fight Wilfredo Benitez. I was locked up. What was that, in 9?
79, yes.
I'm locked up, so when I'm 13 years old, I'm locked up in juvenile. I'm watching the fight. He wins the title, but he's fighting a master. No one's saying he's fighting a guy who's champion of the world at 17, not amateur, professional. And he's fighting him. I can't even talk.
Oh my God, man. I love you, man, and
Oh no. You was buying me so fucking much, nigga. I saw you fight Turan. It changed my life. I said, this is what I'm gonna be. Look at me, nigga. Because of you, who are you? You might not think you're nobody, nigga. I love you. I know the art of fight. I know the art of war. That's all I ever studied. That's why I'm so feared. That's why they feared me when I was in the ring. Because that's all I was an annihilator. That's all I was born for. Now those days are gone. It's empty. I'm nothing. I'm working on being the art of humbleness. Can you believe in me? That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss him. I don't want that person to come out, because if he comes out, hell is coming with him. And it's not funny at all. It must sound cool, like I'm a tough guy. It's just, I hate that guy. I'm scared of him.
My God, very intense, emotional guy. I think it's safe to say Sugar Ray Leonard wasn't expecting that, although I'm sure he appreciated it. One of the most endearing aspects of Tyson's transformation is his ability to find humor in his own story. It's like a sane spectator has emerged from the pain and the chaos of his youth and is now looking back on his own life in disbelief and with great humor.
Listen, I'm just keeping it real with you. Fuck everybody else. I'm a custom model, man.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm under his tutelage. Everybody else is wrong. I told him one day, I said, I want to be the champ of the world one day. I want to be great. He said, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for. I went back to the paper. I said, what's that mean? Now I understand. I understand. What's that mean? To fight James Buster Douglas. Bad day at the office. You know, I didn't think I was going to lose, but I didn't know how I thought I could have won. I wasn't training properly. I was supposed to be practicing, this is another word I learned too, abstinence. You know, I couldn't even say abstinence, how I was gonna practice it, right? Because they go, yeah, that's just a form of control. If they could get you to stop having sex, they could get you to stop breathing. And of course, I didn't want to stop breathing, right?
So Tyson has assumed various forms throughout his long life as a public figure, all drastically different, but all nonetheless extremely compelling. You know, there's an unusual longevity and diversity in how Tyson has captivated audiences across 5 different decades. So he's one of the most historically significant boxers of all time. He's a cultural icon with, as I've said, a life that is beyond Shakespearean. And against all likelihood, he has emerged as a deep, philosophical source of seemingly endless wisdom. It really seems like Mike Tyson has lived many lives in one, and is now a living testament to the human capacity for growth. You know, it's somehow gratifying to see this once tortured figure content in his life, to see the guy happy, because if there's one thing you would say, it's that he has certainly paid his dues. Life put this guy through the fucking ringer.
Why do I have to go through this pain? Why do I have to go through this fear all the time? Why can't it just be peaceful all the time? Then it wouldn't be life. You know, it wouldn't be life. We have to take life at its terms, life on life terms, not our life on our terms. You know, we have to live life on life terms, not on our terms.
But he hasn't done it all in 20 minutes. The man is 58 years old, which is the crux of the criticism of his presence in this whole Netflix and kill boxing spectacle. On the contrary, the public perception of Jake Paul in the boxing world is at best mixed, but generally negative. Most boxing fans view him as a pretender, someone who has used his fame to kind of bypass the traditional path to boxing success. His cocky attitude and brash trash talk often come across as disrespectful to the sport and completely unearned. You know, critics feel that Paul's success is much more a function of clever marketing than athletic ability, and that he's generally handpicking opponents who are either way past their peak or not primarily boxers. They view the guy as a shameless opportunist, in stark contrast to someone like Mike Tyson, Jake Paul is a product of an ADHD-type culture that values quick, viral hits of dopamine and engagement over depth and expertise. There's obviously a justified sense that his path lacks the substance and the authenticity of traditional boxers. Now, I say that without judging. I personally just think he's a product of the times. It is what it is. But a lot of people would see him as a burden or an unwelcome annoyance of the times. A brash, cocky, opportunistic, disrespectful loudmouth. The embodiment of everything people see wrong and empty and vapid and gratuitous about the internet celebrity. Now, I personally don't share that view of Jake. I think there's a little more substance to him than some of the other influencers, including his own brother. I think those two are cut from slightly different cloth. But that is what Jake represents to millions. And it's this contrast between the two personalities that I think makes it both a horrendous spectacle in 2024 and at the same time almost unmissable. Because if this fight is going to be a real contest, then it likely promises, or at least teases, one of two incredibly compelling images. Either Mike Tyson, at 58 years old, is going to provide us with one last epic, incredibly satisfying, instantly iconic image. The image of Tyson knocking out Jake, I mean the still image of Tyson standing over Jake, would just be so hilarious and epic and unimaginably satisfying that it's just irresistible. To me, it's must watch for the mere possibility of that happening. The fact that that is even on the table.
Well, Mike, let me ask you this. What does it say about Mike Tyson if he knocks out a 27-year-old Jake Paul?
Mike just knocked somebody else out again. You know, this is going to be big. It's just, it's not like it's just some 27-year-old. It's Jake Paul.
But the other possible eventuality is equally as compelling, albeit for all the wrong reasons. You know, maybe Jake is too much for him at his age and drops or knocks out this living legend, this piece of American history, and instead the horrifying still image we get is of a young, supposedly dumb, social influencing buffoon standing over the unconscious 58-year-old Mike Tyson with a big, goofy-ass grin on his face, like he's just stepped in a time machine back to the early 90s, and he's Buster Douglas all over again, having just toppled the prime Mike Tyson. I mean, God forbid, we might be living in a world where Jake Paul knocks out Mike Tyson. And that image is so nightmarish and ultimately sad and bizarre and offensive that its mere possibility also demands watching.
Jake, same question to you. What does it mean if you knock out a 58-year-old Mike Tyson?
Yeah, when it happens, it's going to be a little bittersweet because I have love for him. But at the current moment, we're meant to go to war. This is the baddest man on the planet. Look, I mean, just look at the fucking guy sitting here right now. Right. He's an animal. He posts Instagram pictures and I get a little scared. But I have to step up to this level and show people that I can accomplish the impossible. And that's what the story of Jake Paul is all about.
This is the baddest man on the planet. When that statement was true, Jake Paul wasn't even born. So that's how he's going to spin it, which will be annoying and plays into every criticism about him. I mean, he knows what he's doing here. If there's one thing Jake Paul understands, it's how to be provocative. And so as much as there are medical or ethical considerations, I agree with those. The last thing anyone wants to see is Jake Paul punch Mike Tyson into a coffin. But if the fight is happening, well then at least for me, it's impossible not to watch. For all the reasons this fight is abhorrent and objectionable, they're all the same reasons that make the whole fiasco such grotesque promotional genius. I'm not going to be able to look away, and I'll have these fingers tightly crossed for a miraculous, gratifying blast from the past.
Heavyweight champion of the world. best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me.